The Northern Elders Forum has demanded the immediate resignation of President Muhammadu Buhari over the raging killings across the country, especially in the north. The Director, Publicity and Advocacy of the Northern Elders Forum, Dr. Hakeem Baba Ahmed, made the call on Tuesday. He said the forum made the recommendation with the highest sense of responsibility and expressed hope that there are enough Nigerians who enjoy the confidence of President Muhammadu Buhari to advise him to consider resigning. He lamented that killings and assaults on communities have now become daily features of lives of all Nigerians, as traveling anywhere is now risky and the option of staying put does not make anyone safer. He advised that politicians aspiring to lead the nation to weigh their capacities and common commitments and also the challenges of leadership very carefully. The Northern Elders spokesperson said that leading Nigeria out of its current state and placing it firmly on the path of recovery is not an all-comers affair, and that Nigerians will exercise greater levels of discretion in deciding who they can trust in future. Now, Dr. Hakeem Baba Ahmed is live here with us in the studio to, give us, further, explanations on this statement and why it's coming at this time. Thank you for joining us on Daybreak this morning.
Thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me.
Yes. Well, I mean, this is not the first time, apparently, that you are calling for the resignation of the president. But, I mean, have we gotten to that point yet, looking at the fact that quite a number of issues really have been, or I would say a number of steps have been taken, by the administration to deal with this in terms of specifically procurement of military hardware?
So, procurements are meant to achieve results. What are the results? We're making a comment in the context of the absence of anything substantial that the president can do, has done, or will do that is not changing the way we live. People say, oh, he's buying weapons for the military, he's spending money on procurement. No president has spent so much money on procurement. But we judge him by results. The results are that Nigerians have never been more insecure. We see a leadership that appears to have resigned itself to allowing us to live at the mercy of killers and bandits and rapists. We see no effort to introduce anything new or different. The situation is getting worse by the day. We have a whole year to go under the leadership of President Buhari. Is this how we're going to live? Do we know how bad it will get? I wonder. We speak to a lot of people. It took a long time before we said this.
But resigning at this point, what difference will it make, really? If anything, it may just even take us back, because if the president resigns now, it looks like we're in the middle of, a crisis right now. So, issues of handing over to the next person is also entirely a different thing that may take a whole lot. And if you talk about changing of leadership of the military now, the military chiefs, for instance.
Nobody is talking about the military.
That's true. No. It's also entirely a long process.
No, that's not. The military doesn't feature in this issue at all. First, let me remind you, we have a constitution.
I mean, if the president resigns and we do not have a new leadership
let's start from there.
Of the military,
what
difference will it make?
Let's start from there. The constitution says there shall be a president and a vice president. It also specifies grounds and conditions under which either one of them can leave. Resignation is one of them. If the president leaves, there's a vice president. Now, if you want to ask whether a vice president who has served under the president will do better than the president, that's a different issue entirely. But the military doesn't come into this picture at all. We are not recommending anything to do with the military. What we're saying is activate the constitutional provision that says when a president who has sworn to protect and defend Nigerians fails to do that, and every chance is made available to him to do so, and he fails to do that, and there's no indication that he's going to do that, and citizens are crying, what we're saying is what 90% of Nigerians are saying. They're saying it individually. This is the first time, perhaps, or the second time, a group like ours comes out and says, look, with all sincerity and whole sense of responsibility, Mr. President, you are not able, for one reason or the other, to secure Nigerians. Please, please, the Constitution that gave you the power also gives you a way to leave the leadership so that Nigerians can begin to find a solution.
Dr. Ahmed, it looks like the problem that we are dealing with is beyond an individual, is beyond a personality, is beyond a person. It looks like we have a systemic problem. Because, I mean, no matter how interested or committed a person is, you know, and it doesn't have a system that works, he may eventually become redundant as well. So, what are we talking about? So, shouldn't we be looking at the system instead?
The systems are made up of human beings. The democratic system is a system. It's made up of people, institutions, laws, and regulations. Each one of them has specified functions to perform. So a system, the democratic system, is led by an individual. He is the one person everybody looks up to. He has to be voted by a nation. And he has a specific mandate and a trust. The mandate is to govern. The trust is that he will govern well. If he fails to govern and to govern well, he has no business being president. That's the system. So if you want to blame the system, that's an abstract thing. Systems are made of people. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the person who swore to protect Nigerians. He's not protecting Nigerians.
Dr. Ahmed, this administration will say that, and they have said it, that they have improved security in the Northeast, and that the task of securing Nigeria is a work in progress.
In the Northeast?
Yes, they said that it has improved.
There's a lot more of Nigeria than the Northeast.
The attacks by Boko Haram have reduced. So they're saying that the task of securing the entire country is a work in progress. What do you say to that?
It's not working. There's no progress. If there was, we know what it means to ask a president to stand down. We know. The people the people who make up the Northern Elders Forum are very senior, very responsible people. We know what it is. It's a huge, huge issue. If we and other Nigerians had seen evidence that we're fixing Northeast, and a bigger problem is not opening up in the North Central, Northwest, and North Central, and the rest of the country, we wouldn't say this. In fact, we would say we haven't spoken at all for the last 3 months, which is very unusual for the Northern Elders Forum. We have restrained ourselves. People have cried. The train issue, the killings 2 days ago, over 90 people died in 2 states. Every single day, Nigerians die. We're getting used to having people dead, and that is not acceptable. So if government says, "Oh, we're trying our best," the simple answer to that is, your best is not good enough. And this is the good thing about the democratic process. If you cannot fix the security of the citizen, for him to travel, to make a living, to go where he wants in peace, to deal with the criminal, if you arrest him, prosecute him, if you have to fight him to death because he or she will not submit to prosecution, then fight them. All this money you say you are spending on hardware, what is the result of that? If you put all these things together and they don't work, then clearly you have to challenge the government to prove that it is serious about security. If it doesn't secure citizens, that's the first job of the government. It fails to secure people.
All right.
More people, just 1 second, more people are more insecure have been more insecure under President Buhari than any other time or person in this country. Should we just fold our arms and say, well, they've done their best, let's continue dying until we have another president? We have a year to live under President Buhari. What we're saying is nothing more than what you and us say in private. This government is not working. Why does it sound so big an issue when, as a group, we say what ordinary citizens are saying?
Dr. Ahmed, the Northern Elders Forum is made up of very eminent personalities. People who, when they speak, people will listen to them.
Thank you.
As a group, what are you doing to maybe in the area of providing maybe advice to the president on the security issue, or even within the communities or amongst the people to see how this security issue can be tackled?
Oh, we've done a lot. We haven't had a very long history with the president. We started very well with the president. We had access to him. We could say to him, we could say to people close to him, we think this is the way to go. We think this is. you should avoid. Let me remind you what you said. You said we are responsible people, and we are responsible people. Nobody will make a statement of this nature without contemplating what it means. To have come out to say this publicly, Mr. President, please step down, suggests two things. One, this is the only avenue through which you can say this. And two, there's no other option. There's no other option. There's nothing. There's nothing that you see on the ground that suggests to you that things are going to change.
But I'm wondering if really there's no other option, and whether or not this option is the best that we have right now. Because if you look at, we are hearing, stories about moles within the security architecture that we have, where sometimes they leak information, they provide information, they seem to be collaborators with these terrorists. And when you hear things like that, and then troops are ambushed and killed and all of that, how do we tackle this?
How does the president attack? He's the chief security officer. This is a retired military general. He has fought a war. He has led a whole division. The president should give you the answer and not me. If there's a failure to secure citizens, the first port of call is the president. How come the military, civilians, ordinary people, I'm sorry, I don't mean you, but you are journalists, so maybe you know a little bit more than that. How is it that we citizens know that there are serious problems within our military, and the man who is supposed to fix that problem is not fixing it? Is that an excuse for him? Can the president, who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, say, there's nothing I can do, the military leaks secrets, there are moles, the military is collaborating with criminals. What do you do about it? What are you supposed to do? You have all the powers in the world to fix the problems within the military. The commanders have access to you, the service chiefs have access to you. You appointed them. If they fail, they can't keep secrets. If they can't impose discipline, do something about them.
With all the powers that the president has, others have spoken about the strategies that we are using to deal with this. There are analysts who have also said that, well, this warfare, it's an asymmetric warfare. It's not something that Nigeria has had to deal with in the past. And so there are fears of collateral damages. Sometimes there is this unwillingness to really go after the bandits, especially when they are within communities and within villages. And so there's this fear that, okay, if we go very heavy and maybe drop bombs on them, there will be collateral damages, innocent civilians will be killed in the process. Or sometimes you have situations where even in the camps, they have people that they have abducted. And so there's the fear that let's not just, rain that kind of heavy fire so that we don't lose innocent people. What do you say to that?
You see, you do either of two things. One is to explore other ways of dealing with the issue without necessarily jeopardizing the victims or reducing the damage, the potential damage. The other one is to do exactly what he's doing now. I'm not going to do anything. My military can't fight, or my military is not willing to fight. My military doesn't know how to fight this war. My military, it is not a problem that has no solution. There is a solution. We are not suggesting that you can fix banditry and kidnapping overnight. But let's do something. Let's see something being done. Let people in their villages stop dying. Look, quite possibly 20% or 25% of the villages in Katsina will not grow anything this year because they've been abandoned in Kaduna State, in Zamfara State, in Sokoto State. If we're talking about the Northwest, you're talking about almost a third of the population that is either running or living in IDP camps or living with relations. They won't farm.
Dr. Ahmed.
This is a crisis of monumental dimension. We're talking about millions of people. Don't you think if the president met the only real existential threat when he became president was Boko Haram and some remnants of militancy, because President Eradua had dealt with that substantially. But look at where we are now. It's not just that people are dying on the interest of citizens. the people are dying simply because there's just nothing to protect them. Now, who do you go back to?
Dr. Ahmed.
Should we just blame the system? The system is an amorphous, abstract thing. System is made up of people. These people are led by leaders. Our leaders are not protecting us. The leader is one person, and he's the president. So when you defend us,
is it not unfair that everything is put on the president, like him
it's
as
not.
a person? Because
It's not.
I mean, government. There are different layers of government, isn't it? The
It's
states,
not.
the local governments,
It's not.
and there are leaders across board, across all of these, tiers of government.
It's also his job to harness all these tiers. That's why we make only one individual commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Only one. Governors have responsibilities. The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. If you need to harness, you just had some governors a few days ago say, we will bring in mercenaries, we'll do this. Even within his ranks, and these are governors close to him, say, bring in mercenaries. This is the only way out. People are dying. We're tired of our people crying and dying for us. We are sorry. Governors said to the citizens of the country, we are sorry. Governors. Governors don't have military, they don't have police, but when they talk to you, they will tell you, we literally fund the operations of the military. So it gets back to your point. Where is all the money that goes into buying hardware going to? What should citizens blame? Blame governors or blame the president who is in control of the military? Who should we blame? Somebody has to be blamed. What you're saying is don't blame the president. It's a system, and it's a very difficult problem. So let's do nothing?
Actually, Dr. Ahmed, shortly before you came on, there was a security expert who was speaking to us, and he emphasized on the fact that fighting security is a general issue. Every Nigeria has a role to play, including the Northern Elders Forum. Yes. So, as the Northern Elders Forum, aside, you said you have engaged the president in the past, are there other things that you're planning to do while the president and the government is doing its own part?
Doing things. Always. The problem is that on a number of issues relating to citizen security, state security, there is a limit to what citizens can do. I watched incidentally, while I was watching the come on stream, I watched the gentleman who spoke. And this defense that, national security is everybody's responsibility. Yes, but the chief security officer should harness and create an environment where everybody does have a role to play. What do citizens do now? Short of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who else is involved directly in fighting security? And what is their role? Governors will tell you, we want to do something, but there's nothing to do. The traditional rulers have been kidnapped and taken away right under the noses of their people. Other members of society are busy running away to sit down and look for problems. What we don't want to accept, the way all these businesses of creating excuses, is we don't want to accept the fact that they've lost control of the security of the country. Now, it sounds horrible, and I assure you, believe me honestly, we will not say this if really this is not the case.
So does this now, brings forward the need for us to perhaps consider rejigging the architecture of the security? A lot of people have talked about state policing, right? And, we have community policing, but I don't know if that is effective enough to help, with all of this. So do you think that perhaps we need to look at the issues of state policing?
Absolutely. We need to do a lot of things. But the first thing we need to do is to identify those who are not working now. I'm talking about now, before we rejig. Rejigging, restructuring, revisiting the security architecture is a long-term project. It will take months or years to do this. It requires tinkering with the law, it requires consultations, it requires so many institutions that have to be involved. And we support it. And the president, incidentally, is against this idea. He's not alone. There are a number of Nigerians who think, don't touch the system. But the bottom line is, what do you do today? What do you do tomorrow? What do you say to the families of the people who have been abducted on the train? And they're somewhere up in the bush there, maybe sleeping in the rain. But you don't even know where their conditions are. That they should wait because it is possible that somebody might convince the president to rejig the security of the country. Villagers who are dying in the hands of the president should wait, because the president will be seen and the president will be convinced to reject the security of the country. There are long-term things that need to be done. Clearly, Nigeria needs to be revisited. The whole structure of the system has to be revisited. But it cannot be revisited in a situation where a president is just unwilling to explore anything new, and the president doesn't just seem to understand that the situation in which citizens live in this country is very, very serious and is very dire. And if you can't fix security, I repeat, if you cannot fix the security of the citizen, you have no business leading a country. And this is nothing to do with, we would say this to anybody. In 2014, 2015, the Northern Elders Forum was in the forefront of fighting to remove Jonathan and put President Buhari in power. Let me remind you about that. We worked very, very hard with President Buhari, and we thought removing Jonathan, because we thought Jonathan was weak with security. We thought Jonathan was soft on Boko Haram. We thought he was. And we worked, and we were very happy to have worked and put Buhari in place. We thought Nigeria would be a lot more secure today.
So it looks like it's beyond the individual, like I said earlier.
No,
the problem.
A president is not an individual. A president is one Nigerian with immense powers to do many things. He has powers to rally around opinion. He has powers to rally around interests. He has power to plug leakages. He has powers to come up with solutions. He's not an ordinary citizen. That's why the Constitution makes him president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So don't reduce him to the position of a citizen. We look up to him. Everybody in this country, whether you like him or not, whether he's APC or APC, you look up to him. He's the person that we all go to. Sir, we are dying.
Now, it looks like the only solution to this is decentralizing the security architecture, which you said, I mean, it's a long-term thing. From what we have right now, the architecture that we have right now, can it really do anything to change anything at all? Because it doesn't look like it can.
You said it can't, it cannot.
No,
I mean, the current structure, the status quo.
Oh, clearly.
It can.
I mean, look, you have a governor of a state.
So then what can we do to fast track, maybe, to look at
first of all,
decentralizing the security architecture?
That is why we gave one solution. And for us, it is to do with the person who can actually set this process in motion, both the short term and the long term. A president who is unwilling to recognize the magnitude of this problem and do something about it. That's why we began with the president. It's not that we don't like President Buhari, but we don't like the fact that he is leaving Nigerians in a lurch. If you have to do anything, it begins with the person. He has to agree to these things. Fix the military at least up to a point where it can actually become a fighting force befitting of Nigerians.
All right, Dr. Ahmed,
if you don't do this...
Yes, Dr. Ahmed, we know that the president is not going to resign because the Northern Elders Forum said he should. We know he is not going to.
Now, he told you that?
Now, I mean, he's not going to do that. We all know. I mean, this is not the first time that call is coming, But
well,
again,
we don't know that.
In any case, that's on the one hand. Now, there is a law. There are people, however, who the law or the Constitution has empowered to do that, to take the president out of office, which is the National Assembly.
No.
The National Assembly
no,
can
you're wrong
impeach
there.
the president.
The president can decide on his own to step down and cease to be president.
He can.
What if he decides not to do?
We know he wouldn't.
Again, that's his right.
I mean, he wouldn't do that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm saying that we have other
options.
options.
know he wouldn't do that. Now, when you say we,
I mean,
I suppose you and your colleagues think so. We don't make this kind of statements as a joke.
Track records. We know that there are track records. We know that there are precedents.
Yes.
And going by those precedents,
yes,
it doesn't look like, that's what I said, it doesn't look like that he's going to do that. Right?
We'll see.
Now, when we talk about, taking the president out, the Constitution empowers the lawmakers, the National Assembly,
not necessarily
to impeach the president.
I just informed you there are a number of ways in which the president can leave office. One of them is he voluntarily decides, I don't want to be president anymore. There may have been no president in this country, but other countries, presidents have resigned. That's one. The other one is he can get impeached. The third one, we pray that it doesn't happen, is that he dies in office. So the Constitution is elaborate in providing for ways in which the president, what we chose for us under the circumstances here is the easiest option. A president who swore to defend and protect the citizens of this country and fails to do that, and whatever his excuses, if the country is consistently exposed to insecurity, more and more citizens are dying,
Dr. Ahmed,
clearly he has lost the right to govern.
Dr. Ahmed,
yes.
I believe that the Northern Elders Forum is interested in seeing a solution to this problem.
Absolutely.
So if for whatever reason the president does not resign as it has called, is the Northern Elders Forum going to come up with maybe a list of the things it wants the president to do, or come up with any other thing that can act as that? Because at the end of the day, I think everybody is looking for a solution to the problem.
Yes.
So it cannot be just one. So if the president does not resign, what is the Northern Elders Forum going to come up with?
We have done a very responsible thing. We have offered an opinion which we think is a solution, or at least part of the solution. And we believe that Nigerians, we speak for Nigerians, millions and millions and millions, the vast majority of Nigerians, who cannot see a solution under the current circumstances. They are insecure, they are dying, they are under all sorts of threat. Because of failure of security, too many setbacks are suffering. The economy is suffering. We are imminently in phase of facing food shortage and hunger in this country, especially in the northern part of the country. And parts of the country are drifting apart, and that's all part of the national security.
All right, sorry, just quickly, because of time, I will interject here. In your statement, you also talked about, politicians eyeing the #1 seat, of the country. 2023 elections is, around the corner already, and we've heard drums that are being beaten everywhere. However, what should we be looking out for from people who are vying, for that office, in terms of solutions to this issue of insecurity? What are we expecting from them?
We should expect people who should contest not because they want to be president or just want power, but because they have a strong commitment to use the power Nigerians will give them and the trust that Nigerians will give them to actually fix the problem. We don't want people to be just like president. They just want to be president, but not to exercise the responsibilities of a president. That's the first thing. We want evidence that they are actually prepared to do that. They have the capacities. Their background has prepared them to lead.
But how do we know that? That seems to be a very difficult thing to do, isn't it?
Not.
Because we thought that the president, being a former general, back then in 2015, has the capacity to do that.
So now we learn from him.
Obviously, it hasn't. So how do we know, people that can
inadvertently? One of the legacies that President Buhari will leave behind is that Nigerians will now be more critical in terms of analyzing anybody who comes up and says, "I want to be president." You want someone who is more than just honest, because that's how President Buhari came. He's tough on insecurity and he's honest on corruption, and both of them have proved spectacularly wrong. You want a person who is knowledgeable, who is honest, who is willing to go all the distance to protect the most helpless citizen in this country. We want somebody with a knowledge of the economy. We want someone who can actually go to every inch of Nigeria and work for every Nigerian and represent the interests of every Nigerian. We want somebody with the energy, with the health, with the disposition.
How do we identify that person?
They are being identified, madam. It's called the political process. Politicians are doing that.
Because they'll just come and talk to us and then we'll buy what they say. How do we know that?
Well, I can assure you, I can speak for our group. What we say, and a lot of people come to us, a lot of the people who are aspiring come to us, and we tell them, we want to see three things. First of all, why do you want to be president? This time we would not fall into the trap of, say Baba, say Buhari. We want to know why you want to be president. If all you tell us is you want to be president, forget it. We won't ask the second question. Well, if we pass that, beyond that, then we would ask you, what do you plan to do? How prepared are you to lead? What have you done to prepare yourself to be president? What's your preparation for security, for economy, for joblessness, for the country drifting apart? And thirdly, who is your team? Who are you going to work with? Where are your people that you will transit from campaign to politics with? And we would accept any Nigerian who proves to us that he or she has learned the lessons from the last 7, 8 years, and he will actually provide a leadership that is different from the current leadership in the country. That's what we're looking for.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Hakeem Baba Ahmed, for coming on Daybreak this morning. We have to end the interview now because of time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
And that was Dr. Hakeem Baba Ahmed, the Publicity Secretary of the Northern Elders Forum. We are now ending the show. At this point, in case you've missed, you can always catch up on our YouTube channel and also subscribe to all our social media handles. My name is Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for spending this part of your morning with us. And join us again, same time, same station tomorrow. My name is Stella Iyaji. Bye.